You would think a player as good as Joel Embiid has been dedicated to basketball ever since he knew what it was, but with the Philly superstar, becoming an NBA player wasn't always his dream. See, before he ever had hoop dreams, the 76ers center Joel Embiid dreamed of space and wanted to become an astronaut. And that's not it. Embiid had a whole written plan on how his life was going to go before he discovered basketball and even knew it was a thing. His plan was to run for office and eventually become an astronaut. Quite an interesting sequence, but that was the direction he wanted his life to go. And it all started back in Cameroon, where Joel is from. And according to Embiid, people from that country, with Joel included, don't know anything about space. Nobody's even sure if there's a Cameroonian astronaut. And to be honest, even Embiid thinks there probably isn't. So that's exactly what he wanted to become. He wanted to become a president and then an astronaut. The first Cameroonian astronaut ever, to his knowledge. And the reason why he thought he would be the perfect candidate for that role was because he was good at math. He was sure it would be easy to be the first 7-footer in space, and he seen no problem with it. And with his mad math skills, he managed to form an equation by which he estimated that it would only take him about a year and a half after quitting his day job of dunking over defenders on the court and social media to escape the atmosphere and achieve what no other man of his size has ever done before. To put it in perspective, at the time when Embiid was forming his ultimate plan, there have been more than 35 NBA most valuable players, but only 12 people have ever set foot on the moon in the entire existence of humanity. And Embiid, he wanted to do it both. So, when he once told that story, a NASA enthusiast who admired Embiid's confidence decided to find out just how feasible it would be to send a 7-foot, 280-pound basketball player whose tolerance for height seems to top out at his local parking lot, hurtling towards the stars. And that's when he called the experts over at NASA to properly figure out if Embiid has what it takes to become an astronaut. So, a woman named Catherine Brown, who's a public affairs officer at NASA, walked him through NASA's astronaut requirements, and right off the rip, it doesn't look good for Embiid. And surprisingly, potential astronauts don't necessarily need a pilot's license anymore, so that wasn't the problem. However, there are 3 main key points necessary in order to be eligible to tickle the stars: a bachelor's degree in engineering, biological science, physical science, computer science, or mathematics. At least 3 years of related professional experience obtained after degree completion, or at least 1,000 hours piloting command time on jet aircraft, and the ability to pass the NASA long-duration astronaut physical. And now, let's take a look at Embiid. He only stayed at the University of Kansas for 1 year, where he never declared a major, before leaving school for the NBA in 2014. But he could always go back and finish his degree. As for the other two, if Embiid went full-time into astronaut training, he could get those 1,000 hours in just 25 weeks if he worked 8 hours a day. Plus, being a professional athlete, he'd be able to pass the long-duration astronaut physical with ease. Now, if Embiid could pass all the requirements, then the NASA selection board would review his application, and if accepted, he would have to go through 2 years of training in geology, leadership, space aeronautics, and even learn Russian. As of right now, it doesn't seem too bad, but some things are out of Embiid's control. The same physical gifts that made him a dominant force on the court might permanently ground him on Earth, because unfortunately, there is a height restriction, and the world inside NASA vehicles and suits is incredibly cramped. And it just so happens that Embiid exists in the 1% of mankind that can't fit in the most advanced spacecraft in history.